Hi, this is Pamela Worth with the Hello Health Moms Empowered podcast. And today I have Amanda Nigg. Amanda, thank you so much for being with us. Super founder of Farm Fit Training, has a number of certifications, and really works with people on driving transformations, health and wellness, mental, so many wonderful things. And she's been featured in Next Mentors, Success XL, and US Reporter. Amanda, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored. We were just talking about like what we talk about today.
A lot of things. So tell us how you got into health and wellness and then how you kind of your methodology for helping people through health and wellness transformation. I think so many moms out there are not only trying to take care of themselves, but take care of their spouse, of their children, aging family members. It's a lot of it sits on our shoulders, I think.
Absolutely. Well, here, I'll give you a little background. So I live on a fifth generation farm in South Dakota. And my husband's the fifth generation, and then I'm raising the sixth. So like my boys, we already know they want to go into farming, they want to carry on our family legacy, which is a huge honor. In agriculture, we're all about that generational. And so the fact that they're really excited about that and they want to be a part of what our family stands for, like when it comes to agriculture. Now on the side of health, that's where I get to come in. And so how I got started is backing up. In college, I actually was a medical degree. I graduated college with radiation therapy. So I've always been in the fixer mentality. Like I always loved the human body, understanding it, how to make it better. And so I went into the medical field because my family is very so much medical. I have an uncle that's a doctor, my sister's a nurse practitioner. And so I really wanted to understand the human body more. And so I went into oncology because that was a field that was just so not understood correctly. There was a mystery there. And through the course of oncology, I graduated. I decided to take a step back just because my first case was a 4-month-old baby. And I wasn't quite ready to like treat a whole family, fresh out of college. And I hate to say it, it's like when you're going through the medical program, they throw so much like books at you and information. It's like trying to decipher it and like figure it out and like understand it. You don't really understand the emotional side that people are going through. Like that's a whole different beast in itself to be able to like emotionally tell someone that like their 4-month-old is going to die. It's just like there's a whole side of psychology and more to that. And so for me at the time when I graduated high school and had my first case, I was just like not emotionally there. And so I took a step back and started selling insurance. I sold supplemental insurance. So it was still that fixer mentality, but I was more focused on, like being able to support someone going through a medical crisis. So instead of being the one giving the medication or coming up with a treatment plan, I was more like, here, we'll pay money directly to you so you can go get the quality care you want instead of the quality care you can afford. And so it was still that fixer mentality. And I actually did that for 11 years. I did door-to-door sales for 11 years. Loved it. It was different every day. I was able to help a lot of clients be able to go get the quality care they wanted when they went through cancer, heart accident, a major health crisis. Over in that time, I met my husband, which I always thought I was going to live in the big cities. I was destined for the big cities. And so when I met my husband and moved out to his fifth generation farm, it was a whole different beast in itself. Like I knew enough about agriculture growing up because I did grow up in a small town in western Nebraska. So I knew about agriculture, but there's so much more to agriculture that people don't understand. And there's so many great advocates on social media that are bridging that gap between consumer and producer and really explaining that process, which is really cool in itself. But there's a lot more to agriculture that people truly don't understand. And for what I mean there is like the mental struggle. Like in rural America, there's not that much mental services available to help people. Like agriculture is leading the charge in suicidal rates in the world. And those stats are not being talked about. And so backing up, before I launched my business, I actually had a like a huge setback. I guess I don't know how detailed you want me to get here, Pam, but in 2020, everybody went through 2020. We all went through the COVID pandemic. We all went through that whole beast in itself. But for my family, it was a lot different because the day before the national lockdown, which was March 20th of 2020, we 4 years prior to that just built our forever home. We were living in it. We were going to go seek refuge during that 2-week lockdown. Our house caught on fire and we actually lost everything. So the next day was the national pandemic, and we had nowhere to go. We had no clothes, we have no food, everything's locked down. You couldn't even talk to anybody. There were so many unknowns and insecurities going on during that time. And so for our family, a lot of people, when I talk about this story, I tell people like, yes, it was materialistic things. We still had our health, we still had our family, we didn't lose our dog or anything like that. But like we had no, like there's a lot of value. Like we put time and energy to building our forever home that, we don't get to stay in. And then we're trying to social distance and we're trying to even get groceries. Like we couldn't get groceries. Like everything was closed. And so I really hit a low point in my mental health where I was struggling, and the only thing available at the time was a 1-800 number because, again, we're social distancing. You can't go talk to somebody. And so it just like for me, what I turned to my physical health. And so my gym was in our house so that we lost. And so my husband would go out to our junk pile and get me like random pieces of equipment because he knew I needed that time to check in with myself. And over the course of 2020, I started posting it. I changed my social media handle. I started posting my struggles and my journey. And a lot of people were asking me about that. Like, where did you get your weights? You couldn't get weights in 2020. Everybody was trying to build up their home gym. And so I was grabbing these old tires, these tractor parts, these old weights, tractor parts and lifting and showing you can utilize things around your house. And I think that broke a huge belief barrier where everybody thinks that you have to have this massive gym to get a good workout in, or we forgot that, hey, approaching your health through a holistic practice, like paying attention to how you're feeling your body, diving into exercise, checking in with your mental health, it really will impact those around you more than you realize. And so over the course of 10 months, it really opened my eyes how there's this massive gap between physical and mental health within agriculture. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to be that bridge to show people like, hey, you can do a 15-minute workout. The big number one reason why people don't dive into a fitness journey is time. They're like, I don't have the time. I'm busy. I'm always going on. Well, if you don't make the time now, you're going to have to make the time later on down the road. And you're going to get told from a doctor that you have to make the time. And so I wanted to show people, hey, you can make the time now. It doesn't have to be complicated. Let's break this down into layman terms. Let's make it simple that it can plug into your busy schedule. I'm a mom of 2 very active young boys. I have a husband that's super busy. We farm. We have considered a small farm, just over 3,000 acres, but still, like we're busy. Like I'm running every direction and I make it work. And so let me show you and let me educate you the science behind how we can make it work for you, where you can feel your best and be that unstoppable force for yourself. And so that's truly how Farm Fit training became about, is like it came from my own mental health struggles, losing our home, which honestly, I would have never launched my business if we didn't lose our home. As crazy as that sounds, like I was comfortable in my job. I was comfortable selling insurance. I was, one of the top 5 in the nation selling insurance. Like I was comfortable, but I needed that redirection. And I always me and my husband talk about it, is like God had to give me that redirection to be on the path that I am today, or I would have never done it.
Yeah, no, that's a crazy story. Thank you for sharing that. And I think a lot of people can resonate with the fact that they hit all-time lows, and how you can um, crawl back out of it. It's incredibly difficult. Um, when you work with people, how do you typically get started? And are there certain things that you touch on in different phases or in different steps?
Absolutely. Well, everybody's coming into a fitness journey at a different stage. First and foremost, we're all unique. Somebody else might be just starting their journey. Somebody else might be kind of tiptoeing into a journey, but not really setting a journey. And some people might be consistent, but they might not have the right keys to see the progress. And so in farm fit training, we really hone in on each of those different stages where again, I really focus on quick and effective because I actually read this case study prior to launching my business where they took 100 people. 50-50. They had 50 people working out for 15 to 25 minutes. They had 50 people working out 45 minutes to an hour. And in this case study, they gave them the same amount of movements, but where they were in charge of is how much weight they used and how much effort they put into their workouts. And what they noticed over the course of 3 months is the clients that had the shorter time hit muscle failure and did more of a functional hybrid training compared to more the individuals that picked up lighter weights, because they're like, I'm going to be working for 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not going to lift heavy right out the gate. And so they didn't hit muscle failure until towards the end of their workout instead of the beginning. And so I took that methodology and applied it to firm fit training. Like these are quick and effective workouts. They're 15 to 25 minutes. I'm not asking for 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm only asking that for 5 days a week. I break them up into, like, for example, 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days, and then we do like a HIIT style day. And you get 2 rest days because rest and recovery is a important part of shredding fat and gaining muscle as well. And so I took that and I applied it into firm fit training where it's like, okay, I'm going to educate you and I'm going to give you a system. I'm going to teach you how to get these quick and effective workouts in, how to hit muscle failure properly, what happens to your body in that process. Like so many trainers out there don't explain the science. And if you know what I mean, Pam, like I joined, so case in point is I did a fitness program back in 2017. And I remember it was a CrossFit program because CrossFit was on the craze, and everybody was doing it. And I remember joining this CrossFit program and I had no clue. Like I didn't know what a deadlift was doing to my body. I didn't even know how to perform a deadlift. I'll be honestly, like my back was hurting when I did a deadlift. And anybody that knows how to do a proper deadlift, your back shouldn't hurt. That means you're not doing the form correctly. And so one of the things I really wanted to bring into firm fit training is the education along with that. Like I want to educate you to the point where eventually you probably don't need me. And that tells me that I'm doing this correctly. And so on the nutrition side, I really honed in on macronutrients, which is a really big word. It's basically you're focusing on the nutrition value of foods in large amounts. So you're still counting calories, but we're more focusing on getting foods that have like vitamins, minerals, those essential nutrients that our body needs, which is protein, carbs, and fats. And so I really dove into that and I actually created a system to make it easier for individuals to understand, and how what our body needs in protein, carbs, and fats is unique as well. Because again, we're unique. And so I created this system. I educate on high protein because first and foremost, high protein is super important. Our muscle skeleton is our largest organ in our whole entire body. Everybody needs to be able to put on muscle. It's plain like to be able to age properly, you need to lift weights, and you need to fuel your body correctly so that you keep your muscle skeleton because we start to lose muscle mass after 30. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so I really took those components and created Farm Fit training out of applying those quick, effective workouts, out of fueling your body and really educating the science behind that. And like, I don't hand someone a cookie cutter nutrition program. Like, I don't believe in those. How I approach nutrition is I more approach it as in I will give you recipes, like high protein recipes that you will make for your whole entire family. And then I will teach you how to fit that high protein recipe into your nutrition by adding different sides or toppings. And so again, you're not creating one meal for yourself. You're creating a meal for the whole entire family that's nutritious, that's packed full of protein, healthy, complex carbohydrates, healthy fats. And then you're going to be able to hit your goals in that course with that meal, but you're also fueling your family. So it's really it's approach where it's not just individual based, it's impacting those around you because we're more focusing on, hey, by diving into your journey, you're going to be able to fuel your family correctly. Your family's going to start to see the benefits as well. And then your mental health is going to change in this process because we all know the best way to tackle mental health or anything like that is through physical transformation because you learn a lot about yourself in that process. And it just comes full circle instead of just focusing on yourself, where a lot of people are like, I can't dive into a journal because I'm selfish. Like they look at it that way. It's more like, hey, it's a lot harder to pour from a half empty cup than a half full. And so by taking that time for yourself and becoming that unstoppable force for yourself, you're going to also impact your family and bring them along through the process. And then it becomes this beautiful thing where it's like your family's going to start eating healthier. You're going to eat healthier. You're going to stick to it longer because you have moral support. You're joining a tribe to continue to push you. And so, community is huge into this aspect as well.
No, that's huge. And I appreciate you saying, it's easier to serve from a full cup. I always try and encourage people, remember what fills your cup, what makes you feel good, what provides you energy. And then, try and get rid of the stuff that drains you and drains your
Yeah.
cup, because if you don't have a full cup, it's really, really hard to do anything else. Um, so when you're working with people, is it a combination of one-on-one? Is it community? How are you kind of bringing all of this together to help people along the way? What have you found is best, or is it really individual based on the person and what they want?
We do more kind of a group style now, but it's still one-on-one. And what I mean by that is when I first launched my business, I did work directly one-on-one with clients. First and foremost, I had to prove that I knew what I was teaching, and I had to show individuals like, hey, like I know what I'm doing, like trust me. And that was really tailored, extremely tailored programming, extremely everything was super tailored. Now we've kind of pivoted more into where they still get access to a coach. So I do have coaches that are also certified in personal training, nutrition, and also wellness, which is stress management, environmental and emotional well-being. And so we're all certified into that. And so when a client comes in, the programming is set up more like depending on the level. So we have different levels within our community. So where you're at in your fitness journey, you'll be plugged into the right level for you. And then the nutrition, again, I don't hand cookie cutter plans. Like you would have access to over 1,000 macro friendly, high protein meals at your fingertips. And then we educate like how to fit that in your macros. But then again, you're cooking one meal that works for everybody. And so we really show that. And then the community is huge. A fitness journey, yes, it's a journey for yourself, but you don't have to go about it alone. And so in my app, we have community spaces where you can connect. And like, it's super cool. Is like, I've been doing this since February 5th of 2021. And a lot of my clients have built such cool relationships with each other that they've met each other outside of the app. And so it's really a community aspect where, yes, you're doing the fitness journey for yourself because maybe you're uncomfortable in your skin. Maybe you don't like your appearance in the mirror. Maybe you're not that active, hands-on mom, or you don't have any energy. And then as you start to go through it, you connect with such a like-minded tribe that they almost become your family. And you get excited to keep showing up. You get excited to keep diving in. And then next thing you know, like I can't tell you how many times I've had like a male or female join my program, and then their spouse ends up joining. And it's just like you impact those around you in the process as well. And so for anybody that's interested in our programming, is I do have a quiz, on my website where they can go through that quiz and it will help get them in the right program to get started. And then they instantly get access to the community. And I believe in that so full-heartedly is because like once you start to connect with people that are uplifting, working on themselves, like pushing their boundaries, really discovering who they are, it's infectious. It's like you want to be a part of it. You want to stay in it, and you get excited. And so they'll get instant access to that. And then also those recipes. Everybody, it doesn't matter what level you're in, we give them all access to the recipes, which again, those are 100 or over 1,000 macro-friendly, high-protein meals that you can make for your whole family. And like I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in South Dakota on a fifth generation farm. Like our closest grocery store that I go to is 45 minutes away one way. So we really educate too, like how to plan ahead, how to pick your meals out, how to, order groceries, how to plan for the future. And so I think that's a huge component in itself too, is because like, especially in agriculture, like right now we're at a low time because it's winter, but during planting and summer and harvest, like it's go time. And you just, that little preparation can have a profound effect in setting up for success as well.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I think community is such a big piece in all of this. And, and it's wonderful to see things coming out outside of, when I was going through my struggles, I leaned hard into private Facebook groups, but I'm not even sure they were really that private now that we kind of take a look at some of that data that's made it out. And so I really respect and um, I'm so thankful that there's more groups coming out that are, safe for people to connect with each other. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I mean, when people go through the application process with us, we do ask a ton of questions. You know, I've turned people away. I'll be honest. Like, there's a couple of people where I'm like, I don't think you're coming into this with the right, like, reasons or intentions.
mhm.
Um, and with that, I've had competitors try to join as well, which is fine. Just means I'm doing it right and they have to copy. But it's just, community is a big thing for us, and we want people to feel safe, and we want people to be able to connect with like-minded individuals. We don't want people in there that are going to be toxic. I've had people join the program where I've had to kick them out 3 months later, you know. Um, so with that being said, like I don't want people to feel like, oh, if I join my program, she's going to kick me out. No. We really protect our community and can protect the individuals that are within farm fit training. It's when you truly connect with the right individuals, like the sky's the limit. And I truly believe in that. And so us coaches are in everything. Like I actually just posted this morning in the community chat. We're doing a holiday hustle for the month of, we do challenges every month. And so this month we're doing a new challenge, and I just posted about the new challenge. So like not only do I'm always in the apps talking to clients, I have two other coaches that are always in the app. And so we're very so much a part of everybody's journey and paying attention to individuals as well. And if you're going to be a negative Nancy, and if you're going to be, just super not a cheerleader and supporting other individuals, then hands down, we're not a right fit for you.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to touch on something for a second, knowing that you're so far away from grocery store. How do you handle nutrition and like getting foods that you feel are good and nutritious? And I mean, it's hard if you're not close to a grocery store. And, in a lot of communities, finding organic food can be really, really expensive and not necessarily accessible. And what do you kind of lean into or suggest for people that may struggle with either affordability or access?
Well, I don't buy all organic. I want to first and foremost put that out there. A lot of people don't understand organic. They don't understand GMOs. Someone in agriculture, I fully understand, and that's a whole topic in itself. But I always buy the fruit and vegetables that are in season. If you ever want to know what those are, you can always Google it quick. We do post it in my app too of what's in season, so individuals can buy the fruit and vegetables that are in season. With that being said, is planning. Like every Sunday, I've gotten into a routine of sitting down, picking out the meals that we're going to have for the week. My boys are in sports. We're running 100 directions. Like my kids actually go to two different school zones, two different schools. And so a lot of planning, like Sunday when the boys are watching football, we're hanging out playing some board games or just chilling. I kind of set up my week, what I'm going to cook for meals for us. I get my groceries ordered online. I plan for the future. And that's what I would tell anybody is like a little prep goes a long ways. And so like if you are like me in the middle of no man's land and you don't have access to a grocery store that's like 10 minutes in your backyard, just take that little time to prep. You have to plan for your success. You can't just go into a fitness journey or nutrition program and don't think that you don't have to plan. But also it's easier too. It's like, I mean, we give them access to over 1,000 macro-friendly meals. So they just have to pick out the meals, plan their groceries, and then we educate like how to fit that in their customized macros. But also apps, like there's great apps out there that you can order bulk. So I do order a lot of things on bulk that I know that I'm going to use. Like I just ordered a ton of noodles. Like if you've never heard of Three Farm Daughters, It's a noodle company that was started by these three farm daughters. They not only grow the wheat, but they also package it and ship it directly. So you're ordering directly from the farm. So I order a lot of my produce and stuff directly from the farmer to our house. So like three farm daughters, Dakota Pure Bison, Wander Cow, they do colostrum. So it's really nice to support farmers in that way where it's taking the middleman out. And so it's cheaper if you order directly, and then you're getting like not a lot of added fluff into your ingredients. Like these noodles are two ingredients. That's it. And so it's nice to order in bulk as well. I do hit up Costco. If you're a Costco Sam's Club, I do hit those up. Typically once every 2 months, I go and do a massive Costco roll. And like you read the ingredients, like something we teach in Farm Fit training is we teach them how to read labels properly. My rule of thumb is 5 ingredients or less. If it has over 5 ingredients, don't buy it. It's added, like even like if you can buy, instead of making, for case in point, Thanksgiving, we just had Thanksgiving, making homemade mashed potatoes instead of buying a packaged mashed potatoes. You know, there's 3 ingredients in homemade mashed potatoes, depending who's making it, but I make it with, mashed potatoes, cream, and butter. Like those are my 3 ingredients. Where if you buy the package, do you see that list of what's on the back of mashed potatoes packages? Like it's insane. It's like half of the ingredients you don't even know what they are. So what I tell people is like, when you're buying, work the outside of the grocery store. Buy most of your stuff on the outside. Like go in the fruit and vegetable section, go in the dairy section, which is all on the outside. The meats are on the outside. Like, if you have to dip in, make sure you pay attention to what type of foods you're buying. Like, for example, marinara sauce, like I make sure there's no sugar added to my marinara sauce. Like I like Rio's right now. That's one of my favorite brands, noodles, like I said, three farm daughters, the 2 ingredients I'm buying directly from the farmer. Like I always buy my meat locally. So we actually buy we get a quarter of a cow or half a beef from a local rancher in our area. Same with my chicken and pork. And if you don't have access to something like that, again, just, make sure like first and foremost, you can get access. I hope everybody realizes like if you get on the internet, you can find people, there's tons of stores where you can buy directly from the farmer. Like there's ways to buy directly from the farmer and have it shipped to your house. Like Dakota Pure Bison, for example, I buy that not only do they raise bison, they process it and ship it in this small town in South Dakota. They ship it across the world. And so like for them, it's like again, I know these guys and I'm buying directly for supporting this rancher. And I get like steak cuts, I get ground beef patties from them, summer sausage, like so I mean you can buy stuff directly from the farmer. And if anybody's ever interested, I can give them a ton of websites too, to be able to buy that. And that's the beautiful thing about our, like where we're at in the world is like, you can honestly get access to good foods, even if you live remote, just by going directly to the farmers themselves and taking out that middleman.
Yeah, that in itself would be an incredible list because I think,
I have it. I'll share it with you.
that would be
Yeah.
amazing. I love that because I I mean, I think most of us really do want to support small business and good
Yeah.
farmers. We just don't know who's good. So thank you for that. Uh, Anything else that you want? Oh, the one thing you did mention, and I have to reiterate this too, is sugar. Um, it unfortunately is not good for us at all,
In
and
everything. And
it's an
it's in stuff that doesn't need to be in. Like
yeah,
marinara sauce. Marinara does not need sugar. Like
no,
it does not need sugar. And like, yeah.
doesn't. And
Yeah.
so, uh, sugar is a known inflammatory marker that really upsets the body. And if you're going to eat the sugar, I always say make sure it really counts. It's going to be a good one because just eating it and just whatever just doesn't make any sense at all. It just really upsets the body and the gut and affects mood and sleep and anxiety and
Make recipes from scratch.
yeah.
Like, yeah, like I'll be the first to tell you, yes, I make chocolate chip cookies for my kids. Like, like my kids do have some candy here or there. Like I'm not that like told a mom that doesn't let them have like a box of hot tamales or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's super limited. Like I'm more about the 80-20 rule. And what I mean here is like 80% of your nutrition comes from healthy sources and non-processed sources. And then 20% you might squeeze in a box of hot tamales or, you know, buy some Oreos or whatever. But with that being said, a lot of the stuff I make naturally. Like, so I recently got into making sourdough bread. Sourdough bread's amazing for your body. And even in bread packaging, if you look at the back of bread packaging, like half of the ingredients, you're like, what the hell is that? You know? And so it's like, you know, get used to making stuff at home, you know, and going back to that. Don't go out to fast food restaurants, you know, every now and then. It's not like we traveled for Thanksgiving. So of course we stopped at Subway, you know, on the way home. But like even my boys, like just eating at like my family's house, like my side of the family, like not all of them eat like we do. But one of the things they made a comment is their stomach hurt on the way home and they couldn't wait to get to mom's home cooked meals. You
Wow.
know, so it just like they even notice how I'm cooking and they notice a difference in like the energy and the good wholesome foods. And so again, I tell everybody read the nutrition labels. They say a lot. If there's ingredients on there that you don't understand what it is, then don't buy it. You know, there's way better options out there. And it's super easy to make foods. Like if you don't have the time to make foods, again, use your Sundays at prep, you know. Like I always make my sourdough breads on Sundays. Order my groceries, you know. So set yourself up for success as well. And it's not as complicated as you think. You know, it's really easy. A mom of two wild boys and a very active husband who's, I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's power washing my car right now, which I love. But you know, you can plan ahead for success. And so going back to the sugar thing is like, you know, sugars, they're in everything. And it's just like you don't need that much sugar in your body. Like it does hinder. Like even when I was in oncology, they actually encouraged people to go on a super bland diet. Again, focus on not having sugar or salt because it was a trigger to aiding the cancer. And so if you think about that, like, does our body need all this extra sugar, corn or corn syrup, like any of that stuff? No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't need that added, I don't know, chemicals in it. Not chemicals, I don't want to say chemicals, but added stuff or ingredients in it.
Corn syrup is a chemical. But anyway, it's all good. Is there
It
anything else you
is.
want to add? I'll be sure to add all the social media, website, um,
Yeah.
list of farmers that you know and trust. I'll be sure to add that in
Yeah.
too.
And I have that lit, yeah, and I do have codes with them. I just want you to know.
Sure.
I just want to first and foremost, like none of these companies pay me. How I have it set up is if people use my code, I get stuff from them. And that's how I'd rather have it. Like I don't need to get paid to buy some meat. So it's a cool relationship. So I do have discount codes if people want to use them. You don't have to. But I think the last thing I would add is I would encourage people to find a program that uplifts you. And something that you mentioned earlier, Pam, is like find a community where it doesn't bring you down, it supports you. And the biggest thing with fitness, even in nutrition, if you feel like you're comparing yourself with somebody else in the room, that's not the right group for you. Like join a group where you feel motivated and supported. And there is amazing programs, not yes, I would have to say mine's amazing because I created it, but there is amazing programs out there that can support you and teach you about nutrition properly and teach you about how to incorporate exercise. You know, even if you're starting out or more advanced, you know, find those programs to get started. And an easy way to get started on a fitness journey, if you don't have it in your budget right now, is just start with your gallon of water. I always tell everybody to drink. Hydration is super important. A lot of people don't realize like all these sugary drinks you're drinking, all this processed cans you're having at your house, even water. Like I always joke with everybody is my boys and my husband are waterholics or milkaholics. Like we drink a lot of milk and water in my house. But they know the importance of hydration. They know that even a slight 2% dehydration can affect cognitive skills, memory, motor skills, you know. And so, and then with milk, like again, go back to raw, like drink whole milk or raw milk. Like I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but like if you think about it, when they take those healthy fat out of milk and put into 2%, 1% fat free, they gotta put not chemicals, but they have to put stuff back in it to make it complete.
Yeah.
And so your body knows how to process whole milk better than it does 2%, 1% or fat free. So think about that. Like, don't be afraid of drinking whole milk. Don't be afraid of raw milk. Don't be afraid to buy your chicken eggs locally like I do. There's tons and tons of amazing resources out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. We really appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.